Hey guys, welcome back to a Whisper to a Scream podcast with Ryan Tremblay and myself, Ashers. How's everybody doing today? We will let people kind of gather in the chat. I will plug away on social media here. Ryan, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
You know.
Yeah, I know. Let's see who we got in the chat here. We got Vincent. We got Batmom Whispers. Hey, Robert Mimiria. Hello. A lot of people coming in already. Jeez.
I am currently tweeting on the tweeter, letting people know.
Gem Rock, what's going on? Lunatic. Hey. Lots of familiar faces here today.
I haven't been here in a while. Sorry, guys. I've been very sick. I know Ryan kind of explained that, but I apologize. I didn't mean to join as co-host and then immediately leave. That wasn't in the cards, but it's okay. I'm starting to finally feel better, so that's wonderful news.
David, no, this isn't going to be the Demon Shark tonight. This is going to be the Dogman encounter tonight.
Oh, thank you, Whispers. It's not my birthday yet, but it is Wednesday. I will be 30 on the 30th. I know I shouldn't complain, but I definitely feel every bit of 30. So,
Big Rob, what's going on? Ethan, we got Ethan here already. Woo woo.
Vincent, what are you drawing a picture of? Is it of Ryan's Dogman?
Oh, Vincent, you're going to draw that, really?
Or is it going to be photographic evidence of Ryan collapsing the Silver Bridge? Because we really need more of that so we can build the case.
Vincent, call my lawyers.
But no Demon Shark tonight. That's going to be an official episode. So kind of what we're doing here is, instead of, just topical live streams or topical episodes, we're kind of doing a mix of both. So we're going to have pre-recorded episodes that will be coming out, which are, heavily researched. So that way we can, deliver the most efficient information to you guys. And then we're also doing these live streams because we know how much you guys like the interaction and want to feel involved. So, during these times, take advantage of them, say what you have to say, ask your questions. We can answer them to the best of our capability. If you missed this one, it's okay. If you're listening to it in the future and not live, I'm sure you'll catch one eventually. So
we got Cashew here. Solex the Wolf. What's up, dude?
Everybody's so excited.
I know.
What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing on a Friday night, huh?
Ethan's probably eating some kind of spicy food or chocolate or drinking some coffee.
I hope that he is doing both of those things.
I hope so, too.
He deserves them.
Levi. What's going on, dude? Matthew, hey. I think I see Matthew here today. Michelle, what's going on?
Super exciting stuff. Yeah, we like I said, it's not the Demon Shark episode, but that's okay. One of these days it will be, right?
Oh yeah, that one's definitely coming pretty soon. It's on its way, guys. Oh hey, Flammenwerfer, yo, I haven't seen you in a good minute.
Flammenwerfer, I know that guy.
Everybody knows Flammenwerfer.
He's famous.
What's going on, Pat?
All right.
Oh, we got a lot of people here. What's going on, dude?
Yeah. Yes, we do. Very exciting stuff. So, well, what do we want to do? Do we want to go ahead and jump right into the Dogman encounter? I'm assuming, I don't know, maybe you guys let me know. I'm sure you guys are aware that the UAP report, just came out an hour and a half ago. Do you guys want to hear my take on it? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, tell them about that.
You want to do that now?
Yeah, we wait?
Okay, sure. So again, as you guys know, the UAP preliminary assessment came out about an hour and a half ago, about 5 p.m. Eastern. And as expected, it was a bunch of nothing. It was 9 pages. I'll tell you what, this is the the easiest read I've ever. Oh, hi, Julie. This is the easiest read that I've ever gone through. I mean, typically we have stuff like this, and there are thousands and thousands of pages, at least hundreds, and this was 9. So obviously, you know, the conclusion is that it isn't anything yet. I mean, they just said that we don't know what it is. We have these unidentified aerial phenomenon, and we don't know what they are. So that's kind of still where we're at. I have been busy for the last hour and a half writing emails, trying to get a hold of the actual investigation reports for the individual incidences. It's difficult because out of 144 reports, 143 of them were unexplained, and you know, I want to read all 143. So there we go. Vincent has the 9 pages posted to his Facebook. If you're not already friends with Vincent Richardson, I'm sure Vincent can also share it to some of the groups. He can share it to the Whisper to a Scream podcast Facebook group as well. I'm in Facebook jail, so I can't do anything like that. But, or I would.
I just want to address Michelle's question real quick. Yeah, Michelle, I did actually read about that today. Have you heard about that, Ashley?
I did. Yeah, I did read about the Dragon Man, and that sounds way more exciting than it actually. I mean, it's exciting if you're really into anthropology, but it's not an actual Dragon Man.
I still thought it was pretty exciting, though.
Yeah, but like the name, you know, is really giving it away. I mean, it's really making people think that it's something it's not. You know, I don't want to be the person that spreads that rumor. It's not an actual half dragon. However, it is a new species of hominid, and that is relevant to the cryptozoology community.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, very interesting. But anyway, yeah, the UAP report, there's nothing in it. Don't bother reading it. Wait for the investigations to come out. And even then, there still won't be much of anything except for inconclusive. So there you go.
It was all a bunch of hype, though. It really was.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, yeah, kind of. Mm-hmm. It's not done yet is the thing. And that's what people don't seem to realize is that whenever you're dealing with law and government documentation and things like that, it's very cut and dry. So UAP disclosure is exactly that. Strictly disclosure on unidentified aerial phenomena. That's it. It's only the things in the skies. It's not anything else that comes with it. And that's, I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, that's what this was for. I mean, it's the first step. And you know, we still got a long way to go. It'll be a very long time, I think, before anything's admitted. Granted, I don't think that they know much about anything anyway. But you know, that's just me. That's just what I've gathered and what I found out. They know a little bit more. I said it on PRT the other night. They know more than we do, but they don't know as much as we think they do. So
right.
Well, thank you, Lunatic Fringe, for the birthday wishes. Everybody's so nice.
And David's been reading some dark stuff, huh?
Has he? What did he read? Sacrificing.
You know, actually, that whole sacrificing of dogs kind of ties into the Wendigo thing as well. It's funny you should mention that. Dog sacrifice was a very, very, very big thing when it comes to the Wendigo.
That does make sense, actually.
Mm-hmm. Which is weird because they consider dogs protectors, so why would you sacrifice them? But whatever.
To use that energy to protect their tribe?
No. I'll go into detail about that when we do the Wendigo show.
I'll let you handle that one.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot darker than you think, actually.
I'm
Nothing
sure.
pleasant, that's for sure.
I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, do you think you want to start getting in on your
Well, let's do it.
Topically.
Ain't nothing to it but to do it.
So what we're going to do here tonight, folks, is, and some of you might know Ryan for this particular event, but what we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk about Ryan's personal encounter with a dog man. I thought that it would be fitting for him to tell his own story on his own channel. And, you know, of course, this being a live outlet, you guys will have free reign to ask your questions and things like that. I'm just going to kind of ask that you refrain from asking those questions until Ryan tells his story, and then go ahead and backtrack. And if there's things that, you know, you wanted to dig further into, we can definitely do that. Actually, I met Ryan because Well, I met him through other means, but mostly my interest was because he had this encounter and I wanted him to come tell it on my show.
Mhm.
And I didn't really have a reason to believe that he was not genuine. And as someone who has now gone around the internet stalking all of Ryan's interviews, it is the same story across the board. So, but I'd like to hear it again. That's for sure. Because not all of us see Dogman, right? So, Ryan, go ahead and take it
Oh,
away.
you go ahead and you ask questions, Ashley.
Well, Ryan, just tell us about it. When did this? What year was this? What day was this? Do you remember?
I don't exactly remember the precise day, but it's going on 2 years now. Hard to believe. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I think when I spoke to you, it was a year and a half already, wasn't it?
I don't honestly remember.
Okay, I think it was a year and a half, but yeah, it's going on 2 years, and it happened right here in Arizona. It was the last thing I expected too, because I did not believe in the Dogman. Remember, I was telling you about that. I had no faith in the Dogman phenomena.
Okay, all
So
right.
when I came across this thing, it was just, it was world changing, life changing, I guess you could say.
Okay, okay. And what were you doing?
Incidentally, all I was doing is watching a friend's house. I had gone there to do the final nighttime check in, and lo and behold, there was a lot more there than I thought there would be.
Okay, go ahead. Continue.
Okay, so this basically happened around, I gotta say, maybe midnight, a little bit later. And I was just checking the house, making sure the doors were locked, that everything was as it should be. And I went out in the backyard because, he's got a pretty good property there. And, just checking, make sure everything was safe. And as I'm out there, I heard some pretty strange noises that were not done by a human or a coyote or quail or anything like that. And well, those noises, when I respond, they get a little worse. It was a
Okay.
low growl, became a deeper growl. And before I knew it, I was eye to eye with a hyena like Dogman.
And how far away was it?
He was about 15 feet away.
So you were well. Okay, so just let's go ahead and make the setting again. Um, you were outside, right? You were, as I recall, you were at your person's backyard.
Right.
Did they
Yes.
did they have a deck? Did they have a porch? Were you in the yard?
It's a small porch. It's nothing fancy, and it was right in the backyard. There's a huge tree line right behind his house.
But so it doesn't have a fence.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
Uh-oh, we got Nate here. Nate, what's up, brother?
Hi, Nate, my buddy,
Your buddy. My buddy.
our buddy Nate.
DC Joey, what's going on, dude? But yeah, this backyard, it's pretty big. In Arizona, when you buy a house, most of the properties are pretty big. They're spacious, so you can fit furniture back there. You can usually have a hot tub or whatever back there.
Sure.
But yeah, this thing was actually coming up from the riverbed. The washout wasn't too far from his home.
Okay.
So I could hear this thing as it was down in the riverbed, the howls and the weird yips. And it was something I never heard before. So,
Okay.
hearing something like that late at night when you're by yourself and you're unarmed, you really don't know what to do.
Right. Okay. All right. So you're standing out there. You hear these noises. It comes from it comes out from the tree line. Does it come out from the tree line or it stays kind of back into the trees?
It kind of stays back into the trees for a bit,
Okay.
but as I'm yelling at it, I'm shouting out, hey, like an idiot. I'm thinking this is a human being that's screwing around with me, pulling a prank. As I'm yelling at it, it's responding back with growls. And right there, I probably should just run back in the house and lock the doors. But for some reason, I felt really compelled to stay there. I don't know what was going through my mind at that moment.
Okay.
So yeah, this thing, you actually see it come out from the shadows as I'm standing there. And as it got a little bit closer, the security lights kicked on, thankfully.
Okay. So what did you see then from that point?
The best I can describe it is it was a hyena that was about 6 feet tall. And it was built like a basketball player. So, when you see something like that, you're going, wait a minute, there's no hyenas in Arizona.
So it had kind of the kind of the spots. It had like the light fur, right? Like a light fur with spots.
I don't know if it had spots exactly. I mean, I assume it does.
Okay. All right.
But just the face was so hyena-like that instantly that's what I thought it was, is, a wild hyena somewhere. But in my part of Arizona, we don't have any zoos here. There's no close by zoos. There's no close museums that might have a hyena. So there's no logical reason why you would see an actual hyena.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the just the details about it then. Okay, so did it have the hump type back that hyenas tend to have, or no? Was it a flat, kind of more shoulders?
It had a slight hump to it. You know, I
Okay.
wouldn't say it was exactly hyena-like with a large hump on its back, but it had the tufts of fur going along the back.
Okay. Okay. And then what did um I'm going to save the face for last. Did you notice arms or legs?
Yes,
What?
the arms hung incredibly low, incredibly low. The hands were well down past the kneecaps.
Okay. And
You know,
then
and the
what
legs were what you would expect with a canine. You know, they were definitely bent back like a canine's would be.
okay.
You know, and
What,
when it stood up, though, I did hear the loud popping noise that even Linda Godfrey reported in her books.
well, did it start on all fours or was it just crouching on two legs?
It was kind of hunched down, so it appeared on all fours.
Mhm.
You know,
Okay.
I like to think maybe it was knuckle walking
Okay. But
to
you
try
don't
to
you
get more
say for
quiet.
sure.
You know, maybe it was trying to use a whole stealth tactic, and that's why it was slowly creeping on its knuckles.
All right. And what did the hands look like? Did you notice the hands? The hands on the arms.
I noticed a little bit of the hands. I mean, they looked very much like human fingers. They were a bit shorter than human fingers in some parts, but they looked a lot like human fingers.
Okay. And the feet? Like
I
dog?
didn't really see the feet
Okay.
because the way it was standing, the shadows were covering up the feet.
Okay. All right. And okay, so let's talk about the face. You mentioned it looked very much like a hyena face.
Yup.
Okay.
It very much did. It had the kind of like the flat head that you see with hyenas,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and the wide set eyes and the shortened muzzle.
The shorter snout. Now, what did the ears look like? Pointed?
They were a bit more rounded. They weren't like the German Shepherd type that people report. It was a bit more rounded, but I did see the ears go up and down.
Okay. And then the eyes?
They were more of a golden color. You know, you would expect with a hyena to be a dark black kind of color, but they were more golden, and there was eye shine to that.
Okay. And then what about the mouth? What was the mouth doing?
The mouth was actually just kind of opening and closing very slowly. You know, and if you notice with canines, when they're nervous, they'll clack their teeth. So I think this thing was actually clacking from nervousness.
Could you hear it clacking its teeth?
I could hear a little bit.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Mhm.
for a second, I'm going to. But did it close its mouth all the way, or did it kind of leave the mouth open, or what?
There was a slight gape to the mouth.
Okay. So constant open.
I
Um.
mean, it did at one point raise its upper lips. You know, I could see the fangs. So
Okay. So this is essentially what it looked like. Just to kind of reset the room and maybe people that just came in. We are talking about Ryan's personal encounter with a dog man that happened in Arizona about 2 years ago. So unfortunately, if you've missed to this point, you'll have to watch back, but that's okay. So going forward, all right. So then you see this thing, and then what happened? What was your initial thought?
my initial shot, you know, my brain said to run, my body said no. So I'm staring at this thing. The thing's staring at me, and we locked eyes. We locked eyes for a few minutes. You know, I could definitely tell that I had got its attention, just like it knew I was there. And I have to wonder if maybe it revealed itself for a reason. You know, because there was that eye contact, and I know I should have looked away. Definitely should have looked away right away, but I know I just felt like I needed to assert dominance in a way, maybe.
Okay, and then what did it do?
And it just kind of sat there for a minute, but then it bluff charged. It came ahead a few feet,
Okay.
you know. So when it came at me, I still didn't run. I think I was just stuck with paralysis in a way, you know. And the fight or flight should have kicked in, but I could not run away.
Before
But
we
the
go,
bluff charge only went for a few feet. I'd say maybe like three, maybe 2 or 3 feet at most, and then it just suddenly stopped. And then went back onto two legs and just kept staring at me for a minute.
before we go any further, thank you, Whispers TV, for the $5 donation.
Oh, hey, Whispers, you are a legend.
How amazing! People like to listen to you, Ryan.
No, hey, buddy.
Nubsy. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
Christy, I didn't see you come in, Christy. Hey.
Well, this is why we probably won't do live streams with other. I mean, Ryan's very comfortable talking about his encounter, but it can definitely be distracting when you have an audience at hand because we want to make sure you guys know that you're valued and we do see your comments. I'm seeing all the questions. We're going to hold the questions until Ryan's done with his encounter, and then we'll bring them up from there. But yeah, typically with an eyewitness, sometimes some of these things can be very traumatizing and hard to talk about, which is why you probably won't get a lot of live eyewitnesses on the air anywhere. So,
Mhm.
okay, all right, going back. So it bluff charged, and you just stood there.
Yeah, I could not move. My feet were just rooted to the ground. I was not going anywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I know, my brothers are all hunters. So I knew if you run from something like this, it's going to trigger the whole predator prey response.
But you were by the door of the home, is that correct?
I wasn't really too close to it.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, maybe when you come up to Arizona, I'll show you this property. You can see how far it was from the door.
Well, yeah, I would love that
And
actually.
even still, though, I mean, even if you're close to the door, logic's going to tell you probably shouldn't run from something that's a bit bigger than you,
Hmm.
especially if you don't know what it is, because that could definitely catch you in a heartbeat.
Well, sure, and you don't know. I mean, something like that, you'd assume it's probably capable of ripping a door off the hinge.
Hmm.
Even if you did make it inside, I mean, it's you still got windows and you're still vulnerable. Okay, so then what happened? It bluff charged you, then it stopped, right? And you
Yeah, and it
guys
just
were
kind
still
of gave me
staring at
that
each other.
stare. Like if I had to put dialogue to the stare, it was kind of looking at me like, "What are you even doing?
Hmm.
What are you doing here?" But yeah, it was tilting its head side to side at one point.
Okay. Okay.
And with canines, when they tilt their head like that, that's showing curiosity. That is outward curious nature.
Were there any noises going on besides, obvious like nature noises in the background?
No, it went quiet when that thing showed up.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So then continue. What happened?
So we just kind of had this little stare off, like neither of us wanted to do something stupid. And this thing started to back away very slowly. And as it backed away, it kind of gave one last glance over its shoulder, and it walked away back into the tree line. You could hear it breaking branches and stepping on twigs as it was going away, and I never saw it again.
And then what did you do immediately?
Oh, the minute it was gone, I hauled my ass back into my friend's apartment, and I was just, I was locking doors. I was just checking to see where knives were, and I even called my friend up and told him, "Hey, yo, bro, I just saw a giant hyena in your backyard."
Okay. Well, yeah, okay. And what did he I mean, what was his response? Was he surprised? Was he like, "Oh, you're crazy?" Was he like, "Oh, I've
You
seen
know,
it before?"
at first he was kind of like, "Ryan, a hyena? Come on, bro." But
Hmm.
then he started thinking back to how, one of his neighbors actually reported her dog was missing a couple of weeks before this happened.
Okay.
So he started thinking about that, and he's like, I wonder, do you think that thing got her medium-sized dog? And I was thinking to him, I was like, I think maybe you're right, man.
That's a possibility. Have things happened in that area? I mean, I'm sure now that, because you've been doing cryptozoology since before this incident, right? You've been doing it
Mm,
for a very long time.
right.
And so I'm sure you kind of, you had this experience and you knew what to expect going forward as far as investigation goes. Was there anything that had happened afterwards in that area that kind of gave more credibility to your experience or?
Yeah, actually, I spoke with a couple of ranchers that are nearby town,
Mhm.
and one of them actually said that he saw a bipedal hyena as well. And he
Okay.
didn't want to tell anybody at first, even his rancher friends, because he thought they'd think I'm crazy.
Mhm.
But after I told him my encounter, he was going, "Well, wait a minute. I saw one that was kind of far off, but I could tell it was a hyena."
Okay. So he did report the
So
hyena. Okay.
yeah, and he had some of his chickens that were going missing.
Well, that's easy pickings right there as a farm.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Um. Well. Did you experience? I know I talked to you about this just as an investigation point of view, but in instances of high strangeness, you typically don't have one experience, and your one experience typically has some type of psychological impact going forward. So going forward from this, do you think that, I mean, did you experience anything strange? Did you have any dreams? Did you have any other encounters or, of not encounters, but did you have anything following immediately afterwards that seemed particularly weird?
Well, I had nightmares. I mean, after you see something like that, nightmares are plentiful. But they were nothing overly traumatic. It was just, reliving the encounter over and over again for a while. And so like going out and taking the trash out at night or walking anywhere at night was just a big no-no for me.
Okay. And after the fact, because um, you had said that you didn't believe in this thing beforehand. So after this, did you think that? I mean, what were you thinking? I mean, were you like, oh, well, that's it, it's real? Did it take you a minute to kind of accept? What did
It
you do?
took me a while. It took me a good minute to actually accept what I had seen. There was that whole, did I really see what I thought I saw? Was that something else?
Mhm,
So I started looking at different wildlife in Arizona, and nothing matched up.
mhm,
And I already knew about the dogman. I just didn't believe in the dogman.
mhm.
So, it was just for a while afterwards. I'm just sitting there going, you didn't believe in this at first, but now you just saw one firsthand. Can you really even deny that anymore? So, it came that slow acceptance. It was a very, very slow acceptance.
Okay.
Then once the acceptance came, though, I kind of got to see that I was actually really lucky to have that kind of encounter.
Okay. Well,
If that thing wanted to be vicious and, take its role as a predator seriously, it really could have done some damage.
right. You were very lucky to live through it. That's for sure. So, that's I don't know why. Because it, like you said,
I've
very
thought
easy
about
to
that.
turn you
I
apart.
thought
Yeah.
about the reasoning for its docile reaction.
Okay.
And I got different theories. I mean, I have to wonder if maybe it knew I was epileptic in a way, and maybe my brain waves were attracting it somehow, or maybe it just knew what kind of person I was. Maybe it knew
Well,
I wasn't going to harm it. I don't know.
okay. Well, at this time, we'll go ahead and we'll start with the questions. I know people have asked quite a few. I'm not going to scroll back up and go see all of them. I'm just going to tell you guys where I'm going to start. If you
Okay.
want to ask your questions again, now would be the time to do that. But I will start with Vincent Richardson's question of, "Are you sure it was by itself?"
I'm not sure of that, Vincent. It's possible there was others there. That's something that my friend even said to me, that maybe there were babies in the riverbed, and that's why that one came forward, just to make sure I wasn't an immediate threat to its young.
Okay, and then he had asked about other sightings in the area, but we kind of covered that a little bit more. But he also asked, was there any paranormal activity that followed the sightings, which we kind of touched on a bit. Anything of note that happened immediately after?
No, no, I wouldn't say anything really paranormal either.
Okay, and still scrolling. What did we miss? People are asking about the color. Um,
The
Rick,
color was really hard to get an exact idea of what it was because it was at nighttime.
okay.
With the security lights, it's going to add some brightness to it. So I would say maybe like a golden brownish color with a lot of dark fur mixed in.
Well, which, like we've established, it looked like a hyena. I'm assuming it was very similar in the coloring as well. And
Mhm.
hyenas kind of have that goldish brown,
Right.
um,
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
dark.
caramel colored,
Yeah, there you go.
Let's see. Pat asked, did you hear anything afterwards? I'm assuming once it left.
Once it left, no, I mean, I did hear a faint howl as it was going into the distance, but nothing after that.
Okay. Okay. JP asked, were you wearing any cologne?
I was not, no.
Okay. All right. Still reading. Well, Jim
Yeah,
Rock,
Jim.
yeah, the possibility of pups. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jim, that's what I was saying too, is, maybe that's why it came out, just to see, is this human a threat? Is this human going to find my kids? Could be that too. But then again, you have to wonder, why was it so docile though? If pups were around, wouldn't a mom be kind of like, back away?
Just tear you apart. Well, you would think. I mean, well, sometimes what they'll do, what some people say in the case of Patty in the Patterson Gimlin film is that it's possible that Patty had babies, and that's why she
Mhm.
walked out into the open like that in Bluff
That
Creek.
could be.
Was because she herself was causing a distraction away from her babies.
And that makes sense.
And some mammals do tend to do that. A lot of birds actually tend to do that as well. So that could be a possibility. Maybe that's why it kind of came out a little bit, instead of just hanging back, because it didn't have to show itself to you.
Right.
Let's see, have you seen any more Dogman?
I haven't yet, but I plan on it.
Okay.
I
was
definitely hope on it. So,
was the face a lighter color than the rest of the body?
and no, I actually say the face was darker. You know how hyenas have the dark, dark, dark brown muzzles that kind of go into a black and they fade off?
Right.
It was more like that.
End of the nose, yeah.
Mhm.
What's the population like in the area? I'm assuming James is asking about the people. Is it like a heavily trafficked area?
No, no, it's a small town. It's an old, small mining town.
Okay, all right. Rick is asking again. I'm assuming Rick probably got in late here. Just clarifying about the legs, if they were more humanoid or dog-like.
More dog-like. Definitely more dog-like.
or dog-like. Let's see here. Whisper says, I think it was drawn to Ryan because he's special. Ryan is very special.
Aw.
There we go. Tony has a great question. The smell. Did you have any? Did you smell anything? A lot of people do report the strong scent.
Yes. There was that smell of it's more like wet dog, rotted meat, and urine. It was a really disgusting smell. It's one of those odors that if you were to catch whiff of it, you'd gag.
Okay. All right. Pat asked if your friend had reported anything after the encounter, which we had talked about. Your friends never claimed to see this. Do you still talk to this person? I'm assuming you do.
Oh yeah, of course. We talk almost every day.
Okay. All right. Have you had any other strange encounters?
I have. I actually had an encounter with what I think might have been a Pukwudgie.
Do you guys want to hear Ryan's Pukwudgie story? I'll continue down the list of questions. Let you guys answer if you want to hear it or not. Do you think it could have been a skinwalker?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
I've done a lot of research into skinwalkers, and it does not match up.
That's fair. What about the Michelle asked, did it have large claws?
I couldn't really see the claws too well. I mean, I assume they were probably of a dark color, so nighttime's going to definitely cover it up.
Okay. All right. Amy mentions the old mining town part. Do you think that they could use the old mines to hide?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's a really good spot. Let me see. Dogman questions. People want to hear about the Pukwudgie. We'll talk about that after you guys are done with your Dogman questions. We'll talk about the Pukwudgie incident as well. Mm-hmm. Ryan, did you have any illnesses after?
I wouldn't say illnesses. I just had a lot of anxiety. I had that adrenaline rush, and sometimes when you get that really large adrenaline rush, when you're coming down, you feel really sick.
Mm-hmm.
So, there was that fatigue. There was that kind of like, oh man, what the hell? Why do I feel this way? But more it was anxiety.
Okay. Well, what about, this was a really good question. Did you see a tail?
I couldn't see the tail the way it was positioned. If it had a tail, I certainly didn't see it.
And what about tracks? Did you see tracks?
Yeah, actually, yes. The day after we had that, we went back to where I saw it, and there were scuff marks in the ground. There wasn't any prints, like footprints, but there was a lot of scuff marks.
Mm-hmm. Which, being Arizona, it's the desert. You guys probably don't get a lot of prints in general unless it's like immediately after the rain.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a lot of hard sand.
So, right.
So we do have a lot of hard sand. We have that AstroTurf, so it's going to take something considerable power to leave a footprint.
Yeah, that's right. Let me see here. Oh, this is a good question. Was there any change in your epileptic episodes afterwards? Which is kind of funny because I didn't think about this, but go ahead.
They actually calmed down to a degree. I didn't have a lot of seizures or anxiety attacks for a couple of weeks after that.
Right. And you haven't had one in a really long time, isn't that right?
Right.
So that's, and you were telling me the other day that you're going on the 2-year mark. So that's very interesting.
It is very fascinating. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
I had never considered that. Let me see. What about the eyes? Were the eyes glowing?
I wouldn't say glowing as in like, internally glowing. It was more eye shine. It was the light bouncing off of it.
Okay. All right. And Michelle had asked, which is going to be probably a hard question. I think this will be the last Dogman question before we get into the Pukwudgie. At least for now, the Pukwudgie encounter. Do you think the Dogmen are genetically made or have been here before humans? And I'm curious to know, after your personal encounter, what you believe you saw.
I think some of them could be government made, because you get reports of the fatheads. And it's been a long-running theory that fatheads are created by our government. But other dogmen, no, they've been here for such a long time. Mm-hmm. A very long time. In fact, a lot of the First Peoples tribes, they talked about these things. And that's something that I think we need to touch on this channel, is how the Native Americans actually spoke of Dogman and Sasquatch far more often than people want to think.
Okay.
So, and they spoke of them here in Arizona, too.
But the thing that you saw, do you believe that was a a flesh and blood creature? Do you believe that it was a spectral creature? Do you believe that
I
it
think
was
it was flesh and blood.
animal type?
I definitely think it was flesh and blood.
Do you think that it was do you think it was possible that it was a hyena but had been genetically modified in a way to make it larger, to make
No,
it
no, because I mean, it had the human-like fingers, and it seemed to display an intelligence that's just, not your typical canine intelligence.
hmm hmm
So,
Very cool. Well, hi Nellie, how are you?
oh, we got Nelly here. Hey.
No, wonderful. Um, well, okay, let's go on to the Pukwudgie sighting. This is one that I haven't really gotten to drill you about much, so
Oh,
super,
okay.
super exciting. Let me get my investigator's voice on, my interviewer's voice on. So, Ryan, what about this Pukwudgie sighting?
Okay, well, as Asher's knows, I take my dog Duke down to this wash, this riverbed, every day so he can do his run. Okay, and one day we were walking down there, it was kind of getting a little hazy out, like maybe we were going to get some rain. So we're walking down there, and Duke's doing his normal thing. He's just running, gallivanting, having a good time, and I'm trailing behind him because, old man. So as we're getting to this bend, we hear this really high trilling noise.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a cricket, but imagine a cricket that's like 10 times bigger than an actual cricket.
Okay.
So we'd hear the trilling, we'd hear the chirping, then we'd hear a little whistle, like a little wolf whistle. So I'm looking around, I'm going, wow, am I not alone here anymore? Should I be worried? And I don't see anybody else there. And Duke actually started getting nervous. And Duke never, ever gets nervous when we're out there. He's the bravest dog ever.
He's a
He
very
starts
good
getting
boy.
nervous. His tail goes between his legs. He's whining, and he's looking in one direction. So I'm trying to, look between the trees and the bushes, and out comes this little person, this little guy. And he just stares at me for just a few seconds, turns around, and he runs right back up the hill that he came.
Okay.
And he's just the weirdest looking little fellow.
Did he say anything to you?
No, he just kind of looked at me like he was mad at me. Like he almost had that childish pout look on his face. His bottom lip was sticking out, and he just kind of gave me that look of "How dare you see me?"
That's insanely adorable. What did he what okay, so this little man, what exactly do you mean by a little man? Tell me everything.
I mean, he was probably about a foot tall, if that. Very, very lanky, but he had the pot belly. His belly was sticking out very far, extended belly. And he just, he had this long, really naughty hair, and his jaw was kind of long, almost like a Jay Leno chin.
Okay.
I remember too, he had like a unibrow, looked like a caterpillar resting on his head, on his forehead. And he just kind of gave me that look of, you're not supposed to see me, so I'm mad at you.
What color was his hair?
It was like a dark brown almost.
Okay.
But it was very ratty though. It looks like a rat's nest almost. But he did have like little twigs sticking out between his ears. You know how when you put a toothpick between your ear?
No.
You've never put a toothpick behind your ear, Ashley?
No.
Okay, well, there's guys in chat. You know how it is when you stick a toothpick behind your ear. He had a little twig sticking out like that, almost like it was like a little crown of sorts.
Why is this a thing? Why do people put toothpicks behind their ears?
Because Razor Ramon did it? I don't know.
Okay. I put like cigarettes behind my ears and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, that doesn't matter.
Similar to that, Ashley, when you put a cigarette behind your ear.
Anything behind your ear? Okay, that makes
behind
sense.
your ear. So yeah, he had that, and he was wearing this little loincloth, I want to say. It was made out of different leaves, and it looked like rabbit fur.
Okay. All right.
And he looked like he had tiny little boots on that were made from like squirrel or whatever.
See, Jay Coop knows I'm talking about cigarettes or joints, right? That's toothpicks. I don't know what that's anyway. Are there Pukwudgie sightings typically in Arizona? Because I know that's kind of more of a New England based.
Well, little people have been talked about a lot in any Arizona mythology. They talk about the Duende, they talk about Pukwudgie. It's not super common, but a lot of tribes here do believe in them.
But just, I mean, I guess we don't really know. We don't really know if it was a Pukwudgie per se, but definitely a little person.
Yeah, it was definitely a little person. It could belong to the Fae for all we know. I don't know.
And what did you do? I mean, what you just went home and you're like, oh, well, this is my life now. I see Dogman and Puckwudgies, and this is
No,
my
no. I kind of stood there going, wait a minute. Did I just see a little person? What the hell? This is not fair. So I just, I gathered up Duke and I'm like, you know what? We're going home, dude. Before anything more happens, we're out. We're done. We just went home.
Yeah, I'm all about Lunatic Fringe's thought process here. I would be so delighted to see one of these. I would try to catch him and put him in my pocket and take him home with
I
me.
actually did entertain the thought of chasing him, but usually when something runs like that and they run in a certain direction, it's because they want you to chase them and it's not for a good reason.
Well, that's true. That's a good point. I'm stupid though. Um, yeah, Stanley mentioning the brownies, it definitely. But brownies are typically like in home, like they're in house.
Yeah.
Those
Those are
are like,
more like house elves.
yeah, they're little, yeah, they're just little fey folk in the
Well, I mean, when you see a little dude wearing, fur and grass and leaves as a loincloth, you're not going to really chase him down.
well, you might not, but
I did have that whole thought of, okay, if I chase him, he's going to have his boys waiting for me around the corner. No, thank you.
when did this happen?
No, it was not too long before you and I started talking, Ashley.
Oh, very interesting. But after the Dogman encounter.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, far after it. I mean, like I said, with the Dogman, it's going on 2 years now.
That's now before you saw the Dogman, did you have any other instances of that would be considered high strangeness in your life that you can think of?
No, not really. I mean, nothing that would be strange.
Okay.
Just a fascination with things like this.
Fair enough. Okay. All right. So, and a couple of weeks back, probably about a month ago, you had a really interesting incident outside of your home.
Oh, the children laughing?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm still trying to figure out where that came from.
Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, I had gone outside to have a cigarette about, what was it, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning? And if anybody's been to Arizona at that time, it's very, very, very dark. I'm sitting there, I'm smoking my cigarette, and out of nowhere, literally from the darkness, I hear these kids laughing like there's kids playing. So I'm looking around going, who the hell has their kids out at this time? I'm not seeing any kids, none whatsoever. And remember, I told you about the whole foot shuffling incident too, that, a couple of days before I heard the laughter, when me and my buddy were sitting outside, we actually heard what sounded like footsteps coming right at us.
Mm-hmm.
But when we looked in that direction, the footsteps would stop. And then when we looked away, it'd start back up again.
Vincent,
And a couple of days after I heard the laughter, remember my friend, he was outside and he reported hearing the same laughter from the same area.
okay. Oh.
So I don't even know what that could be. I don't know if that's more supernatural. I don't know if maybe it's the little dudes. I really don't know.
It could be. We can definitely, continue to pick that one apart as it develops because it is actively happening. But
David, I wouldn't say it's a spiritual attack, though. Nothing bad has really happened.
I wouldn't say it's a spiritual attack either. I definitely wouldn't consider it anything like that. Let me see. Yes, Amy. Amy, not just encounters with cryptids. It's not necessarily cryptids that kick off these encounters. A couple of things do. Different spiritual, supernatural events.
Well, it's because your eyes are more open. You're seeing things more. Where when you don't have an encounter with a cryptid, you believe in it, but your belief isn't as strong as somebody who's actually come across one. So once you've seen something like that, your mind just click and everything's open to you.
I would be careful. I would be careful making that a very making that as a statement. I think that's a good theory, but we definitely don't want people to take words and kind of run with them. That could be a possibility. Alien encounters as well, as it's kind of the same. Again, people that have any type of high strangeness event in their lifetime tend to go on to have more, whether they recognize them or not, as what they are. But they do. It's very rare that I personally speak with an eyewitness that haven't had other events happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, let me see here. I don't know what NDE stands for. What does that stand for, Ryan?
I have no idea.
That's Vincent. What is NDEs?
Mm-hmm.
Something encounters. I'm guessing. not good with the. I'm not hip to the slang here. But let's see here. People are just kind of talking and reacting. What are people talking about the Dragon Man? I don't know. Do you have anything else that you want to share before we just kind of open up to general near death experience?
Okay, I should have known. Yeah.
That makes sense. Have you had any near death experiences?
No, not really. I mean, just seizure after seizure, but that slowed down, thank God.
Yeah, not actual. Yeah, not actual near death experiences. I would agree with that. I've had near death experience, but it just depends on what you mean by that exactly. Like, are you talking people that, we discussed near death experiences? Are we saying people that like have legally, medically died and come back? I mean, do we have to take it to that extent,
I think that's what he means.
or just
touch upon my statement, though. I mean, I think anybody who has encountered a cryptid, though, their world does open up to them, Ash. Because I mean, if you're a non-believer and you see Bigfoot or something, then suddenly you're a believer. So in my case, not believing in Dogman, that was a big world-changing event for me. So my mind was far more open to things.
Well, I agree with that. I mean, I think that's definitely one factor, but I think obviously that's what happens, right? People have these encounters and then they realize that, these things are real. I know because I've seen one. But what I'm saying is it that these people, again, that have these encounters, is there something particularly special about them? I mean, obviously, look, there's almost 8 billion people on the planet. Not everybody's having encounters with strangeness, and they're not having them over and over again. So is it that, these specific people that are having them are some type of magnet? Is it that they, were already kind of predisposed to have that? I mean, there's so many different theories about.
It could very well be both. Or I think it's the minds too, that people kind of create events in their own minds at times too. That paranoia kicks in after you see certain things. So,
well, that very well could happen as well. The brain is a very interesting. Somebody had mentioned that trauma can kind of trigger some of these events. And I, I've got so much to say about trauma and high strangeness, which I won't do today. Eventually, I've got to really sit down, and I mean, there's still so much I gotta work through with it myself. But I agree. Trauma does seem to trigger. I mean, a lot of these people aren't just regular people, living regular lives. They usually have some type of trauma in their life that they've dealt with that, whether or not most of the time it's not related, or directly related to, what they've seen or what they've experienced. But, you go back to these eyewitnesses and you ask them about their childhood and, going forward, and they tend to have these great stories to tell about things that they've been through that normal people don't go through. So, I do believe there's some type of connection there, but I don't know why. Again, are these people predisposed to have these events and these encounters, or are they, just, I don't know.
That's worthy of being looked into, I would say.
I agree. I definitely agree. Well, and kind of like, I had mentioned, I touched on a little bit again, the other day on the PRT stream about, we were talking about the differences between these spectral dogmen and these flesh and blood creatures. Yes. And, I had mentioned that, is it possible that when they're seeing these spectral things, which I think is a good possibility, that it's not actually a dog man that they're seeing. It's actually something else entirely. And it just presents itself in a way of something that is absolutely ridiculous, but it's also still believable because we can't necessarily see exactly what it is. Or maybe it was a trauma that we had seen or that they had seen and experienced, and their brain can't fathom it as anything else. So it just calls it something like dog man. So
completely possible. I would agree with that.
That's
definitely.
That's definitely a possibility. Have I encountered any cryptids? Well, kind of. Sort of. I believe that my daughter and I may have seen a thunderbird probably about 2 months back. Is that when that was? And
Yep.
We were driving down the road on a very high traffic area. I live in a suburb. I don't live, in rural nowhere. I live in a big city, even. And we were driving down the street and we saw this giant, well, first it didn't look like a giant bird, but we saw this bird and it swooped down to land on one of the power lines, which, the power line, the power posts, I guess, are T-shaped, right? So it went to go land on like the horizontal part of like the T shape. But what I noticed was its wings were, they were probably 2 times the size of the actual horizontal part, and it was large. And it looked like what it looked like was it just looked like a crow. It was all black, all completely black. People have asked me maybe it was a condor. No, it wasn't, because condors don't look like crow. I mean, it looked like, I know my birds, and that's what it looked like. It just looked like a big old crow, but it was huge. And then it couldn't land on the thing. I don't know if it just decided not to, or I'm not sure what exactly happened. But then it like kind of flew off into the neighborhood, and it took a minute to really kind of realize what was going on, because first of all I was driving, and my daughter's in the car. My daughter's 9, and the first thing I did. Thankfully the investigator had me kicked in. The first thing I did was, without saying anything at all, I asked my daughter, what was that? She said, looked like a big crow. And I was like, yes.
Did you hear any noises from it though? Did it make any calls? No.
No, I mean, we were driving and the radio was on, so it was, I mean, I listen to my music very loud. I didn't think anything of it until it came down to land, because of course it was high up in the air. It didn't look that big until it had got down to this post to see kind of what the size was. And, but by the time I'd kind of grasped in my head what was going on. Now, what we were doing is we were going to my daughter had surgery. So we were going to the doctor to get her packaging removed from her wound. And, yeah, I'm sure you do. It was a whole event. But that's what we were doing. So I was like, do I go back? Do I just keep going on with my life? I mean, what do I do? So since then I've asked, I've asked people locally, like I've asked, there's like this Nextdoor app that you can use for like your neighbors and stuff. I've asked people if they've seen anything, because it was right by my house.
Mm-hmm.
And, I want to try to find out what, how large one of those poles is. Now I've gone since then and I've looked at it personally, but from the ground, you really can't tell. You have that weird optical illusion.
Right.
You really don't know how big it is. But like the pole itself is probably I'd say it's probably 24 inches, around.
Wow.
I mean, it's big, right? So, I mean, of course, that horizontal part's got to be bigger. I really need to I could probably contact a utility company and figure out exactly. I don't know. It's a weird question to ask. So,
I would do it anyway.
I plan on it. I'm curious, but nobody claims to have seen this thing, and it was in the middle of the day. There were other people on the road. At least nobody's come forward. My thought is just maybe
How many people were looking up though, Ashley? I mean, if they're driving, are they really looking up?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that people probably, just like me, were going on about their day on autopilot and probably thought that it was just a crow flying, because that's what it looked like. And, so that's
it's interesting though, because if you look at some of the depictions of a Thunderbird, they depict them as giant crows.
Well, right. And, one of my favorites, and obviously, and I just, sometimes I hate talking about it, because it's like, well, of course, Asher says she saw something. She studies these things. But, one of my favorite cryptids is the Thunderbird. And, sometimes people assume that maybe it is the Teratorn that's not, actually extinct and still around. Or a pterodon, and that's what they look like. As far as we believe, are just these big crows. So I don't know. Was I scared? Oh no, she wasn't talking to me. I was like, I wasn't scared. I was excited. I'm stupid. I'm not scared of these things. I will like run out into them and and pet them. But
so you're basically Elmira from Tiny Toons.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, I am. Exactly. I will pet all of the cryptids. But no, as far as like other encounters go, I also believe that I saw Mothman back in 2016. I think that but I don't know, and I'll tell people exactly what it was. So I had a night with one of my friends where we were doing marijuana, and actually what we had done, we had made our own edibles, and I I ate one. And but we were fine. We were having a good night. Everybody went to go to bed. She was in her room. I was sleeping out on her couch, and she had this like TV cabinet. Okay, and it's almost as tall as the ceiling. It's probably about 2 foot from the top of the cabinet to the ceiling, but it's like skinny, right? And so it's sitting in the corner, and it's catty corner, but it had the doors opened, and the doors were wide open. The TV was off. Everything was off. And I'm laying there and I start panicking. And, you guys can listen to more of my drug adventures on Wednesdays We Talk Weird podcast. But this, it's not something I'm unfamiliar with. It's not like this was my first time smoking pot or doing pot. I'm a regular pot smoker. But in this case, usually I smoke it. This case, we took edibles, but I was laying there and I started kind of freaking out. I don't really know why. I don't really know what was going on. But I started getting very scared, and I'm like, maybe I'm just high. Maybe I'm just freaking out. And then I look up in the corner, and there was like something black, and it was like a humanoid figure, and it was kind of crouching like on the top of this TV cabinet. And it was like, I don't know if it had outstretched arms. I'm assuming that it was it to me looked more like wings that were kind of following the line of the TV cabinet doors, right? But it was hovering over everything. And it had these big red eyes. And thank you. Like Amy says, marijuana does not make you hallucinate. I've done plenty of hallucinogens, and even then, most of them don't make you see things like that. It just doesn't work the way that a lot of people think it works. And just I can only tell you, as somebody that's done a lot of drugs, this is not how these things work. But that's what I saw, and it scared the hell out of me. So I woke up and I go and I wake up my friend, and I was like, oh my God, I'm high. I'm freaking out. Because I didn't, like I said at the time, I didn't study Mothman. I was really into cryptozoology. I knew really nothing about the Mothman. Didn't believe in it for sure at the time. But so I wake her up and I'm like, I'm freaking out. She just kind of laughed. She came and she sat up with me and we talked. And it was just something that I kind of forgot about, honestly, until I started talking about it a couple months ago. And it just kind of hit me. And I was like, wait a minute.
So your mind had blocked it out for a time, apparently.
Yeah, it just wasn't anything that I had ever thought about again. I didn't really have a reason to think about it. And, so it was interesting, but my experience with the Mothman, as you guys, some of you might know now, that's kind of my thing. I'm the moth lady. That's what I've picked up. And, but leading up to, I'm not going to get too much into it. Maybe we could talk about it a little more extensively on another day, but,
oh, definitely.
Leading up to, the reason why I started working on this Mothman documentary is because I was asked to. Someone else asked me to work on their Mothman documentary with them. I, agreed. We were going to the Mothman Festival in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. At that point in time, I didn't believe in the Mothman. I didn't believe in anything, really. I didn't have any type of spiritual, connections or anything like that. I was a very much a scientific based person. And, so they had asked me to go to the Mothman Festival with them. It kind of became a big event, but to me, it was just like a party. Of course, I was excited to go. I'd never been. It was fun. And, but leading up to that point, something was happening, and I can't really explain it very clearly what it might have been. But I remember I went to the grocery store and I was just kind of thinking about this festival and, the kind of things we were going to be doing out in Point Pleasant and stuff like that. And some thought occurred to me out of nowhere, and just overwhelmingly for no reason at all. I had this idea that I was going to go to Point Pleasant that weekend and I was going to try to evoke the Mothman. Which is wild because, again, I was not a spiritual type of person. I had no idea how to evoke anything. I had been, as a lot of people know now, I am a practicing witch. I'm an eclectic witch. I do the witchcraft and things. And I'd done, similar. I had practiced witchcraft way back when I was like a teenager. And it was just something that had gotten away from me for many years and something I didn't think about. But this was a weird thought for me. It was so strange, but I was so obsessed with the idea of doing this. And so I didn't go into the grocery store. I left. Like I said, I was overwhelmed, and I was driving around, and all of a sudden I'm at a stoplight, and a giant. I'm thinking about this. I'm like, why am I thinking this? What do I need to do this? How do I need to make this happen? And while I'm at the stoplight, a giant shadow just kind of came and went across the street, and it was a very clear, sunny, beautiful day in Ohio at that point in time. There was no clouds. There was nothing that it could have possibly been. I don't know. I still don't know what it was. I looked up in the sky. I'm like, there's nothing there. I don't know. But it just became so overwhelming. And then just as kind of time went on and I continued to, not just experience this weird spiritual awakening that I was having, I had this overwhelming feeling that something big was going to happen. I didn't know what it was, but I just felt like it was going to be a big deal. And we went to the festival. Other things have happened since then. I can't tell you guys exactly. Oh, well, thank you. I am a witch. I can't tell you guys exactly everything that's happened up until this point. You'll have to watch the Sinking the Mothman documentary that comes out in the fall of 2022. But a lot of weird things have happened since then. So have I had cryptid encounters? Yes and no. Just depends on if you consider that a part of cryptozoology. Me being a 40 investigator, I do consider it to be that.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's just all been very, very interesting. I've kind of told some story, and I kind of will. I mean, I'm sure I'll tell some more on here just as things go on. These are ongoing investigations. These are things that happen all the time. I have investigations planned, coming up. I'm sure things will happen then. And I'll speak about them either here or over on Wednesdays We Talk Weird podcast, whatever. But yeah, so that's been kind of my beginning stages of them. I don't know how this turned into a conversation about me. Thanks for giving me the floor.
That's all right.
So there you go. There's my beginning life with the Mothman. You know what? I will tell you guys. I'll tell you this much. I have tried to evoke the Mothman. Okay, I have done it. It was obviously unsuccessful because I didn't get to go through with it. I'm a big believer. The way that I conduct my investigations is I do it through synchronicity, right? The universe tells me as crazy as it sounds, it tells me what I need to research, and that's what I do. But I will be, trying again in the future. And at this, particular time when I tried to evoke the Mothman, it just didn't add up. It didn't feel right. And it just wasn't the time to do it, but I will be trying again. Now, whether or not this Mothman is an actual Mothman, I don't know. I don't think so. But I will definitely try to figure out what it is. So
I gotta say a quick hello. Hey, Arlene, good to see you here.
No, please.
Busy lately. Oh,
take it away. No, it's your turn to talk. I've talked long enough. Everybody's probably sick of hearing me talk.
I was just thinking too how it's really fascinating that we're both researchers and we both kind of had that whole mentality of, oh, I'll never see one of these things. It's just really weird. You ever notice that's commonplace, I think.
Well, again, I didn't believe that Mothman was, and I think that's kind of how we bonded. It's kind of I was just because we both had encounters with something that we didn't believe in initially.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just like the Wendigo thing, like before when I first met you, I didn't really have that much of an interest in the Wendigo, remember?
Yeah.
And then I found that deer skull in the wash that I take Duke in, and I was thinking about the Wendigo as I found that, and I'm like, well, okay, guess I'm meant to study this thing. All right. Sweet. I get to study the Wendigo.
You found a deer skull and didn't bring it home for me. I'm offended.
Well, I wasn't going to touch it, Ashley. It had, all these bugs all over it. And honestly, though, why was there a deer skull in the wash? Stop and think about that. There's no deer in my town, Ashley.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why was there a deer skull with, fur still on it? What happened there? Makes you wonder.
You know why. You know exactly why.
Is it because I'm secretly the Wendigo?
No. Well, no. It could be. It could be. All right. Well, I mean, well, we're going to talk about the Wendigo when we talk about it, but the deer skulls are supposed to keep them away, right?
Yep, they actually are. But it was so strange though, because here I was thinking about Wendigo, and I stumbled across this deer skull, and I was kind of going, well, I suppose this means I'm meant to study the Wendigo now, and that's what I've been doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Darren Phillips does bring up a good point about the shaman and using hallucinogens to, kind of expand their minds.
Oh yeah.
I'm also doing, this is kind of, I mean, it's kind of a soft, um, kind of a very soft reveal, but I'm also working on another documentary that's actually about DMT and the experiences that people have with DMT. We will be not only discussing this with people that have used DMT, but we will also be taking DMT ourselves underneath medical observation and seeing what that yields, because a lot of people that take it do report seeing the same thing. It's weird.
Hey Barry, how's it going, man?
Hi, Barry. It's really late in Scotland, isn't it?
And just so we're clear, Asher's is doing that. I will not be taking part in that.
Ryan is not doing DMT. Yes, I will say that. I don't think he's even working on this with me, but yeah, I'm doing that's my thing. Ryan doesn't want to do DMT, I guess. DMT is a drug. So other people, James, you want to be a test subject? It's a drug that causes, like, people have these really intense experiences on DMT, and they all tend to report very similar instances. Not everybody that does DMT will have will experience heights to that degree, but a lot of them that do, they no, Joe Rogan did not. I don't, surprisingly, guys, I don't listen to Joe Rogan. I don't listen to a lot of shows, to be honest with you. That's just not really my thing. But so
yeah, just be careful. That's all we're asking. Just be safe.
well, like I said, it's going to be under medical observation. It's not like it's just going to be us sitting in a basement somewhere doing DMT. It's going to be, very. I am a woman of science. I've never done DMT before. I've done a lot of other things, but not that. Yes, we have somebody that will be making the DMT. I know somebody that knows how to make it, so that's what we'll be doing. And it will be very safe. And let's see if we see the aliens.
Well, there you go. It's an idea, that's for sure. Yeah, toads, right, James? Yeah, looking toads. There you go.
It'll be for science. Then that's what's important here, because I do think that some people are. I don't know if they're jumping dimensions. I don't. It's just weird to me. That people are experiencing the same creatures, the same other worlds that they're going to, and it's not even so much like a visual thing. It's like a feeling. I don't know. You know what? We'll cover it. I'll cover it on my DMT documentary. Hopefully, you guys like it.
Yeah, that's much more suited for your show than mine, actually.
The DMT documentary?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going, whoa, 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 whoa. Ryan and Ashley do drugs? No, Ryan does not. No.
What's wrong with doing drugs?
Ashley, come on. This is a family show.
It's a family show. You're right. If you guys want the fun stories, come over to my show.
Oh, wow.
Come to my other show. If you want the drug stories, come over to my show.
Thrown. Ouch.
It's not. You know what? No, you said it's okay. You said it's a family. There's no shade. I understand. I'm just saying that, we don't have to talk about that here, because I already cover it over there, and it doesn't have the restrictions of YouTube. So,
which we are on right now, by the way, so you know.
We haven't gotten thrown off yet, so.
Never know.
I won't talk about drugs anymore. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
People are asking about it. They want to know. They're curious. Just giving the people what they want.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Well, so going back to what we were originally discussing then, Ryan, you want to see another Dogman.
I absolutely do, of course.
Okay.
I'm actually hoping it'll be another up close and personal experience too.
Okay. All right. Well, how do you intend on doing this?
just searching and doing my studies, and maybe I'll just find out the area that they're in and luck out one day.
Okay.
It's possible. I mean, it could be that that one I encountered before is still within the area.
That's true.
We had a pretty pleasant encounter, I would say. I mean, I don't know if pleasant's the correct word, but we weren't trying to kill each other.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be that sense of recognition, like, oh, it's you again. Great.
It could be. It could be a very nice experience. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think that dogmen are the evil, malicious killers that everybody portrays them as. I really don't. I think a lot of these, dogman stories where it's killing something, it's kind of like, really, if it killed everybody there, how do we know? How do we know about the story? How did the story get back out?
Yeah.
I just think that Dogman's kind of, it's suffering what Bigfoot did at one time. A lot of people thought Bigfoot was the worst killer ever, and now it's Dogman's turn.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, Bigfoot's an easy one. We've talked about it. Bigfoot doesn't. I don't think Bigfoot needs proving anymore. It already is.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, but that's I don't know. I think that's all I really need to say about it. Is it's still interesting? Yeah, but I agree. Now we need to move on to, somebody had asked, some people know I do the Clubhouse thing. But somebody had asked, what are we going to do when they do officially discover Bigfoot? And I was like, well,
there's plenty of other cryptids out there to be verified.
Exactly. And even then, I mean, gosh, with Sasquatch, there's so many different types around. Just because we verify one doesn't mean that we wouldn't want to verify the others.
Well, I mean, we're going to kind of have to if we ever want to know what they all are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We still have, the Gugwe to look into.
Okay. I mean, you got the Yeti, you got the Orang Pendek, you got the Yowie. I mean, they're everywhere, right? You got all these different types. And I mean, here in Ohio, we've got the Minerva monster and the Grassman and the Salt Fork
Right.
Bigfoot. So it's like, are they all different? Are they all the same? Sometimes they look differently. There's still a lot to discuss and discover. I'm all for discovery of a lot of these things. So
yeah, James, hit me up on Facebook, dude. Let me hear that story.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, get a hold of Ryan. He knows. If you guys aren't already, there is a Whisper to a Scream Cryptids Podcast Facebook group that you can join and share different things in. I think we need to do better at being more active within the group.
Yes, we do.
And I'd be happy to help with that as soon as I'm not in Facebook jail anymore. So,
James, you have my email, right? Yeah, we're going to leave my email for James right in the chats.
Yeah, do that. If you don't have Facebook, that's okay. You don't have to join the group. I know that we are both on Twitter. You can follow us both there on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
At Ryan Tremblay 18. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at It's Ashers. You'll recognize me because I'm the one with the red hair.
She's the hot one.
The hot one. Do I know much about Chillicothe, Ohio? What about it in particular? I mean, I live in Ohio.
I know nothing about that place.
I know that there is.
We know there is one.
There is a Chillicothe, Ohio. Is there anything else? Ryan, is she going to be on the show a lot? If she is, I need to unsubscribe. Oh. Why do you feel the need to have to unsubscribe if I'm on the show? I'm curious.
That was a strange question.
Does anybody else feel like I shouldn't be talking as much?
Titan, hey brother. That was a weird question.
I'm curious to see the answer. No, Robert, I haven't heard anything in particular about Chillicothe. I know it's got a couple of haunts in the area, and then of course, I believe you guys are pretty remote. I mean, you're not like a big city or anything, so I'm assuming you're pretty remote. So you probably do have different sightings and whatnot. So
Yeah, I thought we were just like having a group discussion, guys. I didn't realize Asher's talking was an issue.
Yeah, I was just making sure. I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe people weren't interested, so that's funny. I mean, I don't know. Okay, people are enjoying the show. All right, well, thank you guys. I appreciate that.
Hey, Batmom, drive safely.
I mean, you're not gonna please everyone, and that's for sure. And that's okay. I mean, if the show isn't for you, it's not for you.
Mhm.
Um, I think that if you feel the need to unsubscribe, that's unfortunate. But hey, again, if it's not for you, it's not for you. Maybe they didn't like the drug talk. I don't know.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to take that into consideration to an extent, but you got to remember, guys, we are the show hosts. Just saying.
Yeah, I am. I'm the new co-host now, so you're gonna get a lot of me, but it's not gonna be a lot of this. It's going to be um, this is a very roundtable discussion right now. This isn't one of the shows
Right.
that we're recording. Obviously, when we do record the shows, which of course the first one with us exclusively is going to be the Demon Shark episode.
Hmm.
It's going to be a lot of very specific topics. This is just kind of a free for all, thing like that, and it's just supposed to be fun, supposed to make you guys feel like you have an outlet to speak with us and ask your questions and be open, because we're really both very friendly people, and we like to be open with you guys.
We
So
love interacting with you guys. It's kind of a highlight.
I like it. I'm a big people person, and I enjoy doing that. So you know,
Hmm.
Sam
Yeah, I
Lee
think
says
it's
I
fun.
will unsub
We
when
can
you
field
guys stop
questions.
doing you.
That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Sam Lee.
We're always trying to be unique too. We don't want to be a rehash of every other show out there.
Yeah,
So it helps to have two different perspectives.
it does. It does. And I'm I don't know if you guys know much about my background. Obviously you don't, but I am an actual researcher. I'm not just a podcaster. I don't just do shows. My main bread and butter is going out looking for these things. So hopefully people appreciate that perspective of it, rather than just people that Google.
Hmm.
But that's just me.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun on this, though, guys. We're gonna do that black demo shark pretty soon, the demon shark, and that's gonna be a great one because I am a shark enthusiast and a cryptid enthusiast. So that's gonna be
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah. Right. It'll be fun. Like I said, these are just kind of fun. We like to do it for you guys. When we can do it, we will probably continue doing the live streams. Um, okay, yeah, there it is, because I'm talking about witchcraft and doing drugs. Well, Daisy May, I would be more than happy to educate you on both one of these days if you would like, if you would be so open to listening to it. Just because I do witchcraft doesn't mean that I am a bad, evil person. As a matter of fact, I'm probably one of the nicest people that you'll ever meet. And just because I used to do a lot of drugs doesn't mean that I'm a bad, evil person. So, and again, I would be more than happy to educate on either one. It's just I can't make you want to listen.
Right.
But that's completely on you. If you decide that you want to hear about it one of these days, maybe next live stream. But we'll see. That's so funny.
Yeah, no one, yeah, sharks are amazing. So, the fact that it's a cryptid shark or a shark cryptid, it seems like it's meant to be, So I'm really taking a deep dive, no pun intended, into that particular cryptid. Hey, Josh, what's going on, brother?
Oh, there's Josh.
There's Wolf. What's going on, boss?
So that's okay. That's all right.
So we had Nelly. Now we have Josh. My
Now
goodness.
we have Josh.
We got
Josh,
some
did,
heavy hitters coming in.
Josh, did you come to get your theories destroyed on the air, or I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
It's so nice to have you here, Arlene. I know you've been really, really busy lately.
I appreciate every single person that came in today, that is still here right now, that will be here in the end, and that are listening to this in the future after the stream has ended. You guys are amazing.
Right?
Um,
These guys are
you,
legendary. These are the
they
best people ever.
Absolutely. We wouldn't be we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys that wanted to listen in on the show and things like that. If it wasn't for you guys, for people wanting to have an audience, we wouldn't, we wouldn't be doing this. So thank you guys for doing that. Thank you everybody, again, prematurely for the birthday wishes. That's one of these days we're going to do an episode on witchcraft and witches. I promise you guys. And then, you'll see kind of what it means and what it is. Hopefully I'm assuming most people will come with an open mind. But I would be more than happy to explain things to you so you guys don't misconstrue, what it is. So.
Oh boy. All right, Daisy, I think things are getting a little personal there, and I think you should really reach out to Ashley to speak to her one-on-one.
Please do. I would be more than happy to talk to you, Daisy. I would be more than happy to talk to you. Well, thank you, Joey.
Yeah. Honesty is one thing, but being rude about it, it's not really acceptable.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm more than happy to explain my lifestyle to anybody that's interested in listening. But I'll plug my social medias again. You guys can find me over on Facebook. First and last name, Ashley Hilt. Again, I'm the redhead. You can find me on Twitter at It's Ashers, and you can also find me on Instagram under the same name. If you guys have questions, reach out, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. I'm not going to use this time to go into everything. I know we don't have too much time left.
Yeah, no, we probably got to wrap it up pretty soon because PRT is going to be dropping their episode, and I promise Josh will be done before that.
Absolutely.
That way you guys get a double whammy. You get me and Ashley, and you get Josh all on the same night.
Well, I just want to point out there, Daisy May's unsubscribing. So there you go, guys. There's the reality of it. Don't be that person. If you have questions about things, all we ask is that you keep an open mind, and I will do the same for you. It's respect. It works both ways.
Mm-hmm. What up, beekeeper? I'm sorry that happened, Ashley. I did not really count on that.
Oh, I'm not worried about one person. Not everybody's gonna like me. It's just the way it is.
Well, c'est la vie. Everybody's got their own opinions, and that's okay.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Obviously, that person did not come to, with an open mind, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's sad honestly, I feel badly for Daisy May, and I wish her luck. I hope she finds whatever she feels like she's lacking in her life. So.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to let you go so that way you guys can go see Josh and PRT.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, go over to Paranormal Roundtable. Go watch Josh's new PRT episode. You guys have waited for a very long time for one to come out, so you've earned it, especially listening to us go on and on. So,
yep. And Josh, if you're still in the chat, and I'm looking forward to your new episode, bro.
Paranormal bar hopping. I love it.
I got the brisket, brother, that finally arrived. Looking forward to trying that. You sent me some brisket all the way from Texas.
That's amazing. Wow. People are so nice on here. You guys are amazing.
All right, guys. Y'all have a great night, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.